The final pullback is the topic of today. As we went over in yesterday's video, the top side of the 5-day HPDR indicator has shown, once again, the area for a little bit of caution. However, in today's video, as we're going over, well, there are several things in the background that do suggest that this is very likely a major opportunity. As you can see over here, I've actually updated several of the thumbnails in the Teachable, and I should also apologize yesterday because when I did announce the very flash sale for the Trade Like a Quant program, which is just a refaced systematic trading program, I did not include the spelling of the sale, which is DERP in all capitals. DERP is spelled D-E-R-P. Actually, I'll spell it on the chart right here. We'll do it like this. Boom, D-E-R-P in all capitals for 20% off. It actually even comes with a free month of the quant automation service as well. So that means that you can actually, use that to automate your trades and your backtesting and all this good stuff. Anyways, let's jump into it right now. It's pretty funny that there were like several questions like, how do you spell DERP? And then I just started laughing because it's like, it actually is not very self-evident. It could be D-U-R-P, could be D-P, could be who knows. Anyways, still want to remind myself, and we're going to continue to do this for likely the majority of this month, at least into the third week of October, in that Bitcoin October lows have typically come in within the first 7 to 10 days of the month of October. We are now on day number 8. So as we progress through the next couple of days, it just becomes more and more likely that Bitcoin is putting the low for this month. As of right now, we have already passed the 7th, or the day number 7, which is the average of what we expect for the low to come in October when the macro trend is up, which right now it still is. However, if we do include both, both up and down, then the average goes to about 9.5. Again, a couple of outliers here, at least in my opinion, 2012 and even 2019 for that matter, but especially 2012 at day number 26. If we got rid of that one, the average goes down significantly. So it is still much more like that we've already seen the low for October than not. And again, for Bitcoin, October highs typically happens around between the 3rd and 4th week of the month of October. So that'd be around day number 23, day number 24 is what we typically do see. So more than likely, we've already seen the low in terms of timing, maybe another couple of days if you want to be a little more conservative. And then, of course, after that, very likely rallies to a height in the 3rd to 4th week of this month. Anyways, moving on from there. Oh, and I should also go over the average returns here too. Average returns for green, for positive closing Octobers, have been about 28.5%. And in the case that we do see, losing Octobers, which obviously does happen, although, lower probability here, as 11 out of 14 of prior Octobers have been, positive, Bitcoin has lost an average about 8.5%. So going to the actual charts right here, getting rid of my DERP, we can see that Tuesday is actually more weighted in terms of negative closures since 2024 began, with 57.5% of all Tuesdays closing negatively, which is actually the second most negative day of the week, with also the highest negative returns at 2 3/4 for those losing Tuesdays versus about 185 for the positive gaining Tuesdays. So if Bitcoin is going to pull back more in the short term, today, is probably a good day for that, especially after yesterday's rejection of the top side of that 5-day HPDR. And as of right now, if we go from the open and we were to shave off about 2.75%, where that would put Bitcoin back down around the lows of last week, 60,500 or so, which I do think is possible here. Still, does that necessarily mean that Bitcoin's going to make a new low here? I mean, it would be within striking distance, sure, but technically speaking, no. That would still be almost another $1,000 further south. In the event that Bitcoin does get a positive closure today, or at least likely the upside boundary for today, that'd be just above $63,000. So likely the range for today, whether you're positive or negative. But if Bitcoin is going to pull back more, today would probably be the day for that. Moving on from there and reconnecting with my notes, I do want to go over, fourth quarter statistics as well. Do I have it on this chart? I think I do. No, it is on this chart right here. Whenever we've seen September close green, which this last September was obviously a green month, we've seen the fourth quarter to always close positively in all prior 5 times that that's ever happened. It doesn't mean it's always going to happen like that, but it adds on to that conviction that should be looking for major lows right now and should be looking for Bitcoin to very likely flip back around, probably around the timing of the election. In fact, I saw a great Twitter post by Mr. Jason Pizzino, a great friend. In fact, I'll just bring it up over here. Do I have it on the board? Oh shit, no, I don't. Yes, I do. Okay, nice. Actually, I found it. Okay, cool. This was a really interesting statistic that I wanted to bring up. He posts, today marks 4 weeks until the U.S. elections, okay? Using a starting point of 4 weeks before the U.S. election and then an endpoint of 4 weeks after the U.S. election, giving us a span of 8 weeks, Bitcoin is gaining an average of 48% from the lowest price to the highest price. In 2020, it was almost double that. But basically my point is that, again, another statistic supporting, of course, and obviously this plays within the, within the realm of everything else that we've been looking at, but another supporting thing that does suggest, hey, it's probably better to be erring on the side of upside here. And, for what it's worth, yes, that is a very low amount of data points. That's all that we have to work with, though. And that, if it plays out around those averages, that would be $80,000 price per Bitcoin. So I do think that warrants some consideration. Anyways, moving on from there, we have seen this pullback thus far hit and reconnect with that red 5 exponential moving average, which, is to be expected. Pretty much on every candle, there is a reconnect with that 5 exponential. And in fact, when it doesn't, it's almost an incredibly high probability that you will see it happen on the next one. These things just do not trade too far away from that for long. So in this case, I suppose the best case scenario here is that Bitcoin's kind of already pulled back into it, or actually, sorry, it is a little bit lower. It is 61,920 if you want to be super exact right there. But anyways, moving on from there, we already kind of went over the 5-day HPDR. Was expected to get a bit of a pullback here as we went over yesterday. The real question is what happens now? What happens now? Does Bitcoin pop back up in the next 3 days? Okay, that would be rather obvious. Again, however, until Bitcoin, as we went over in yesterday's video, pops back up, trades above, and closes at least a daily above your late September highs, which is 66,524.5 on the index. Well, we don't necessarily have confirmation of, like the next major breakout. If and when that does happen, which I do think that it will happen, probably before the end of this month, we will see very likely a move at least to re-challenge these highs from July, which would be low 70s. Probably Bitcoin breaks out from there. Again, seasonality, timing, statistics, all of the things that we've been looking at, technicals as well, would suggest that Bitcoin probably does overtake that level, as well as a few other setups that we have today. But here's the thing. I do want to present the case for the worst case scenario. As always, it's just wise to be aware of this. Looking at SPX, same thing as what we looked at last week. There is still this nice gap coming in right here. Let me just mark it off from the Monday. Yeah, Monday, September the 16th. If things do come down around there, what would that kind of correlate to in terms of Bitcoin? That's probably where you would see, if you are going to see that pullback down, where was it, and kind of hit somewhere around last week's low, maybe a little bit lower than that as well. Definitely fine. But again, within the context of the, of this video and the title of this video, do you think that this would really be the last opportunity? Of course, I mean, things could break down and trade significantly lower. I mean, that's, it's always possible, right? I just think it is less probable given, what we're looking at. But if that does happen, it happens. It is what it is. And, as a trader or investor, you pick your probabilities, or well, hopefully you pick your probabilities, or you have some sort of a setup. You pick your risk and you stick with that, and and let the chips fall where they may. Is that the right terminology? I forget. Anyways, English not working too well for me today, but I'll probably end the video on that note. Again, as Bitcoin does kind of pull back here a little bit, just understand that none of these models have really been broken just yet. Doesn't mean that they can't break, but not yet. So theoretically, or just again, the title of this video, this really should be an opportunity here. The question is, how far down do things come? Is it going to kind of bottom out right here? Does it come down a little bit lower, closer to 60,500? I think the next big closure that I'd be looking for that would, make me say, hey, Bitcoin, I've seen the low right here, and it really should be straight up from, okay, not straight up from here, but generally up from here, sideways and up. Going to take its time. Doesn't necessarily have to happen in one day. In fact, probably doesn't. In fact, very unlikely does. You know, we got a lot of time to fill out here. But looking at the 5-day for CME, HPDR, if Bitcoin can continue to close above the median, which is 61,000, you know, we probably do see this as the next low confirmed. Again, that would be a little bit more speculative on my own behalf, and I'm putting my opinion on this particular one. But look, if Bitcoin closes above that, yeah, very likely this is already the low. You're not even going to see a retest of last week's low. But shouldn't be too hasty here, as old Treebeard would say. Elsa's favorite character in Lord of the Rings. What? It's her in the background. Anyways, I'll sign off on that note. Again, keep your eyes on this. I like to kind of save this I like to save the more spoon feeding stuff towards the end of these videos. Typically, if you haven't noticed, for the true believers, and yeah, this one closes actually tomorrow night. By the way, tomorrow night for CME, see it above $61,000. We probably already seen the low, and I wouldn't really be even expecting that pullback down to 60,500. So a little bit in limbo here, but we'll come back at it tomorrow. Obviously, tomorrow very likely or is going to be a live stream day. Oh, and fuck, I forgot to mention this as well. If you want to join in on a free trading school, you know, if you just want to get your feet wet into trading, there is a free trading school that we're doing again with the Crypto School people starting tomorrow. It's going to be the first live stream. And yeah, it's actually pretty damn fun. Again, you know, I understand that programs over here, they can be costly. They can also be, you know, not super relevant to people who are newer to trading. Like, you don't even know if you want to really be getting into this. So why risk your own finances when you can join a school like that, which is it's just fucking free, man. So there is a link in the description below, and I will sign off on that note. As always, I want to wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully next time.